When shadows speak louder than words, welcome to the dark tale of Ted Bundy, a story of charm, manipulation, and monstrous deeds. Ted Bundy, the man whose charm hid a monstrous secret. Born in the quiet town of Vermont in the year 1946, Bundy was just an ordinary child. Or so it seemed. His life was anything but ordinary. From a tender age, he grappled with a harsh reality. He was an illegitimate child. This revelation, a long, dark shadow over his life, a shadow he found hard to shake off. He grew up with a secret that would shape his life, and the lives of many others, in the most unimaginable ways. Bundy was a puzzle, a complex character wrapped in a veneer of normalcy. He was the boy next door. He was the charming man with the bright smile. But under that facade there was a monster that was to be. Little did anyone know, this seemingly normal man housed an unimaginable darkness. Bundy, the man known for his good looks and charm, had a sinister side. Ted Bundy, a name that strikes a chill in the hearts of many, was an enigma of sorts. He was a man of good looks, intelligence, and charisma. He was also a man who used these attributes to lure unsuspecting women into his dark world. Bundy was a psychology major, a field of study that gave him an edge in understanding human behavior. This knowledge, coupled with his charm, was a deadly combination. He knew how to manipulate people. He knew how to gain their trust. And tragically, he knew how to use this trust to commit heinous acts. His charm was a facade, a mask he wore to hide his true intentions. He was a master of deception, able to present himself as a harmless, even likable individual. This was his modus operandi, his way of ensnaring his victims. He would often feign injury or disability, playing on the empathy of those he targeted. His victims were numerous, each one a testament to his manipulative prowess. There was Georgian Hawkins, a bright college student with a promising future, lured away by a seemingly harmless man with a cast on his arm. There was Linda Healy, a budding broadcaster who vanished without a trace after a night out with friends. And there was Kimberly Leach, a 12-year-old girl abducted in broad daylight from her school. These were just a few of the many women whose lives were tragically cut short by Bundy's hands. Each crime was a chilling reminder of Bundy's ability to manipulate those around him. He used his charm not just to attract his victims, but to cast a veil of normalcy over his actions. A veil so convincing that even those who knew him well had difficulty believing the horrors he was capable of. His victims, entranced by his charm, had no idea of the fate that awaited them. Bundy's killing spree was as chilling as it was extensive. The year was 1974, a year that would mark the beginning of a horrifying chapter in the annals of American crime history. Ted Bundy, a seemingly ordinary man with a chilling secret, claimed his first known victim. This was only the beginning of a gruesome saga that would span several years and cross multiple state lines. As Bundy moved from state to state, he left a trail of terror in his wake. From Washington to Utah and then on to Colorado, his murderous rampage knew no bounds. Each location was marked by the chilling signature of his heinous acts, a grim reminder of his presence. Bundy was not just a killer, he was a manipulator, a master of deception. His method of operation was as cunning as it was terrifying. He often feigned injury or disability to lure unsuspecting women to his car. Once there, his charm would quickly dissolve into violence as he overpowered and abducted his victims. The facade of vulnerability, the charm, the handsome face all served as a deadly trap for those who crossed his path. His victims were often young, attractive women with long, dark hair parted in the middle, a chilling detail that seemed to hint at a particular preference. The number of his victims remains unclear to this day. Some estimates suggest that Bundy may have killed as many as 30 women, though the actual number could be much higher. Bundy's reign of terror, marked by his cunning and manipulative tactics, held the nation in a grip of fear. He was not just a killer, he was a phantom, slipping through the fingers of law enforcement time and again. His ability to blend into society, to hide behind the mask of normalcy, made him all the more terrifying. Bundy's reign of terror spanned across multiple states, leaving a chilling legacy in his wake. This was the story of Ted Bundy, A man whose charm and cunning hid a monstrous secret. A man who would become one of America's most notorious serial killers. Bundy's smart and cunning nature extended even to his interactions with the law. The year was 1975 when Ted Bundy was first arrested. The charge? Suspicion of burglary. But the police had no idea they had just caught a monster. Bundy, ever the charmer, played the part of the innocent man to perfection. He was well-liked, intelligent and articulate, which made it all the more shocking when evidence of his heinous crimes began to surface. But Bundy was not about to go down without a fight. In a daring move that can only be described as audacious, Bundy managed to escape from custody. He found a moment when his guards were distracted, slipped out of his handcuffs and simply walked out of the jail. It was a brazen act that stunned the nation and had law enforcement scrambling to recapture the escaped convict. However, Bundy's freedom was short-lived. He was recaptured after only a few days on the run, but his audacity didn't end there. Bundy, a law school dropout, chose to represent himself in court. He used his charisma and intelligence to turn the trial into a spectacle, even cross-examining witnesses and making impassioned speeches in his own defense. His performance in court played heavily into his public image. He was seen as an enigmatic figure, a charming yet terrifying individual capable of such gruesome acts. His trial was one of the most watched in American history, and it only served to feed the public's morbid fascination with the man behind the monster. Bundy's capture, escape and subsequent recapture highlighted the contrast between his charming public persona and the horrifying reality of his crimes. He was a manipulator, a master of deceit who used his intelligence and charisma to fool those around him. But in the end, even his cunning couldn't save him. Bundy made a mockery of the justice system, but his freedom was short-lived. His reign of terror had finally come to an end, but the memory of his crimes would continue to haunt the nation for years to come. Even in his final moments, Bundy continued to shock the world. As the end drew near, Ted Bundy, the man who had held America in the grip of terror, began to reveal the depths of his depravity. In a series of chilling confessions, Bundy admitted to the murder of 30 women, though the true number remains unknown. Each confession, more bone-chilling than the last, painted a picture of a man whose monstrous actions were matched only by his lack of remorse. The public's reaction was a mix of relief and horror. Relief because the end of Bundy meant the end of his reign of terror. Horror because the man who had charmed his way into their homes and their hearts was also the man behind such unspeakable acts. There was a morbid fascination too, as people grappled with the reality of the evil that had lived among them. When the day of his execution arrived in January 1989, thousands gathered outside the Florida State Prison. Some were there to celebrate, their cheers echoing into the night as the news of his death spread. Others were there in somber reflection, their hearts heavy with the weight of lives lost. Bundy's execution marked the end of a saga that had captivated the nation, but it was far from the end of his story. Bundy left behind a legacy of fear and fascination that continues to this day. His name has become synonymous with the very idea of evil, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind the most charming of facades. His story has been the subject of countless books, movies and documentaries, each attempting to understand the man behind the monster. Yet the truth remains as elusive as ever. Perhaps that's the most chilling aspect of Bundy's legacy, the realization that we may never truly understand the depths of his depravity. Bundy's life ended, but his dark legacy continues to haunt us. Even now, decades after his death, the spectre of Ted Bundy looms large, a chilling reminder of the monsters that can walk among us. Ted Bundy, a name synonymous with horror and manipulation, a man whose charm and intellect hid a darkness that still haunts the annals of crime history. Bundy's life was a twisted journey, from a promising law student to a ruthless serial killer. His crimes, brutal and unforgiving, shook society to its core, revealing a terrifying truth. Monsters can lurk in the most unsuspecting places. Bundy's reign of terror forever changed the world of criminal psychology, his manipulative tactics serving as a stark warning of the dangerous depths of the human mind. His story continues to impact the way we perceive and approach violent crime, underscoring the importance of vigilance and awareness in the face of potential danger. Ted Bundy, a chilling reminder that monsters can hide behind the most charming of facades. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on which crime story you'd like us to delve into next.